Am I the asshole for leaving my wife without a discussion after I found out she cheated? I know that I am not an asshole for leaving a relationship where my partner was unfaithful. That is normal, and I would hope everyone respects themselves enough to get out of that situation. This is a touch more complicated. I fly in, fly out for work. I am currently working a contract in Africa. I work for 8 weeks, then I get 4 off. So basically I'm gone for 2 months and home for 1. I have been doing this kind of work for about 10 years now. I had a house, but I was never there, and it didn't make sense to rent it out since I would not have a place to stay when I needed it. So I sold it. I stayed with my parents and simplified my life to the point where, other than my car and 1 set of formal clothes for weddings, funerals, I could carry everything I own in 1 piece of checked luggage in my carry-on. I met Louise 3 years ago. We hit it off and started dating. She seemed okay with my lifestyle, and it was nice having someone to come home to. We got married last summer. I found out this September she was cheating on me. When I got home this time, I didn't bother leaving the airport. I checked into the hotel for the night and left the next day for Vietnam. I rented a nice place there for my time off and blocked her on everything. I also contacted a lawyer to start a divorce. A few people got a hold of me to see what was going on since she didn't know where I was. I told them that we were getting divorced because she was cheating on me. It happens. I'm sad but not ashamed. I didn't screw up. We never mixed our finances. The only thing that sort of matters is that our apartment was in her name. We wanted to make sure she could take care of everything while I was gone. All our bills were also in her name. Not my credit cards or anything. Just water, power, internet, stuff like that. I would just give her money to pay all the bills. It was good because then she had her salary to pay for herself on everything else she wanted while I was gone. The thing is, she can't afford that apartment on her salary. I'm back in Africa and won't be home again until just after Christmas. I'm already planning on taking my parents to Europe over New Year's, so I won't be bothering to fly back to California next time. I will just have my company fly me to Italy instead. My ex doesn't have a lot of savings. She makes good money, but she likes nice things. I liked her having nice things, so I didn't mind subsidizing her life. Now she is stuck in a lease and has a car note that will eat up all her paycheck. Some of our friends think that leaving her in that situation without talking to her isn't fair, that she only got the apartment because she was counting on my money for the budget. They all acknowledge that she is in the wrong for cheating, but they think I am screwing her over too much by just leaving her like I did. Cold turkey, so to speak. Do you guys think I owe her anything more? Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for not forgiving my brother for uninviting me from his wedding? I'm in a wheelchair. My 17M leg got amputated 3 months ago. I have not been feeling the best, and I felt worse when I got uninvited from my brother's wedding because my brother and his new wife basically told me that I would be a distraction and take the attention off of them. They didn't say distraction, but they definitely implied it. My parents were upset about this as well and were even planning on staying with me, but I told them it was okay to go. I did cry while they were at the wedding because I felt excluded, and while that was happening I felt that I didn't really want to be bothered with my brother and his wife anymore. When my parents came home, they were telling me that people were asking about and asking where I was, so I guess I was gonna be a distraction regardless. My brother tried calling me some hours after the wedding, but I didn't pick up. After that, him and his wife came by a couple of times after, but I kept telling them that I didn't want to speak to either of them, and I asked them to leave me alone. I've been trying to ignore them, and they've been making it very difficult for me to do that, so I had to block them. And I know my parents are upset by this, but they said that they don't agree with what my brother did, and even told him and his wife not to come over for some time. My grandma and uncle have both called me on my brother's behalf, telling me that he's hurt I'm not speaking to him and he wants to make things right. He's planning on leaving on his honeymoon soon and invited me to go out and take me wherever I want so he could apologize, because he didn't intend to hurt me. It was basically the same thing he said to me in person, but he's just now getting other people to say it too, because he sent the same things to our parents as well. The thing is, he did hurt me though, and I don't want to go anywhere with him. I don't even like going out now that I'm in a wheelchair, because I feel like people stare at me and it's embarrassing, and I'm just hoping it gets better when I get my prosthetic. My family knows I don't like going out as it is, but I was willing to do that for my brother because I really wanted to go to my brother's wedding, and to be excluded like that hurt. I was told to go because my brother feels really guilty, and they told me that everyone's still adjusting and he did not mean any harm because he would never intentionally hurt me. But I don't know why they keep saying that, because whether he meant it like that or not, that's how I took it. My parents are upset at my grandma and uncle for telling me that, but told me that I should still consider the offer. If I refuse to go, would I be wrong? I'm not sure how many people think what I'm doing is wrong, because nobody else has been saying anything about it. Only my uncle and grandma have been vocal about it, and I don't want people talking about me behind my back because they were originally upset when I got uninvited. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she is not a good mother and her kids deserve better? I, a 29F, am currently living at my parents' place 66M/59F, along with my sister 34F and her kids 16F, 14F, 10M, and 11 months. I moved in to help care for my mother, who has cancer, and to drive her around. My father can't drive due to a stroke, and my sister lost her driver's license. Since I work from home and have a flexible schedule, I am the best option for assisting my parents. The kids were a mess. My sister essentially has her own apartment in the house, so my parents never really checked in on her or the kids. One day, I noticed my 10-year-old nephew's hair was matted. I took him to a hairstylist who told me his hair was molding. My sister works during the day but often doesn't come home until midnight and goes straight to sleep. I found this out because my niece asked me to show her how to cook, as her sister was getting physically sick from the ready meals in the fridge. One day, I heard the baby crying and realized my sister was leaving the baby at home. The 16-year-old believes it's her responsibility to take care of all the kids. She is burned out and is failing many of her classes. When she found out she had to redo her grade, her mother screamed at her. I stepped in and told my niece it's okay and that I will help her get her grades up next year. I tried to talk to my sister, but she always ended up crying and saying how hard it is to be a single mom. However, I found out that her ex-boyfriends are sending her money for the kids, but she chooses to work part-time while trying to become a beauty influencer. Meanwhile, I have been taking care of the kids. They have become very attached to me and spend all their time in my part of the house. My sister hasn't seemed to care much. The main issue came when my 14-year-old niece won a prize for young storytellers. She wrote a story clearly coping with her home life and her abusive mother. Her story was published in a magazine. She received $500 and won a one-week summer camp. At the ceremony, my niece thanked her siblings, my mother, and me, saying, "Thank you for being the mom I never had." But I don't know why they keep saying that, because whether he meant it like that or not, that's how I took it. My parents are upset at my grandma and uncle for telling me that, but told me that I should still consider the offer. My sister left abruptly and reappeared yesterday. She repeatedly asked if I was saying she was a bad mother. I tried to stay calm, but she kept pushing until I finally exploded and unloaded everything: the neglect, the lack of supervision, the emotional abandonment. I told her she was not fulfilling her responsibilities as a mother and that her kids deserved better. My sister, still furious, refused to listen and continued yelling, saying she was doing her best and I had no right to interfere. I told her that her best was not good enough and that her children were suffering because of her actions. I reiterated that the kids deserved a stable, nurturing environment and that I couldn't stand by and watch them be neglected. My sister ran away and told her daughter that if they hated her so much, then they were dead to her daughter. My parents are confused and hurt that they didn't see what was going on. My mother has been crying since she found out, and my father, who has a temper problem, screamed some very threatening things at my sister. My nibblings are distraught. The 10-year-old is furious at the 14-year-old for saying what she did because he thinks their mother is going to take them away, and the 16-year-old had a huge panic attack and fell down. I haven't properly slept, and my sister is sending me messages every 10 minutes telling me their life was good before me. I am at the end of my rope. Did I do something wrong? Should I have just kept my mouth shut?
Whipped her for divorcing my wife for accusing me of cheating on her. Me 44M, my wife Grace 42F. Fake names for obvious reasons, same with throwaway account. Married for 13 years, together for 16. Quick backstory. I met Grace about the time I got out of the military. It was a medical discharge. I met her while I was at the hospital for surgery. She was a nurse on the floor I was staying on. Single mom, divorced for a couple of years. I left the military, went back to school, and now I work from home as a software engineer. More or less. We started dating. Took it slow the first couple of years because of her daughter, Maya, who was 5 at the time. Grace is still a nurse and Maya goes to college. I would have said till last month that our marriage was pretty solid. We've had arguments. I admit I was kind of shit at housekeeping when we first moved in together because I was not used to how much kids tear things up around the house. But other than that, it was good. No step-parent issues. I had an active role in Maya's life because her own father lives overseas for work. We went on dates. Intimacy has always been great. We wanted kids, but it wasn't in the cards for us. Honestly, I'm a bit blindsided. I've had friends who were blindsided by divorce, but I never understood how. Usually there were problems that they glossed over and then suddenly their wives would leave them and they just didn't see it coming. But the rest of us could see it coming from a mile away. So here I am saying the same thing, and maybe I just missed something huge. The past few months Grace has been more stressed than usual. Ever since COVID, she's been burnt out, and I asked her multiple times if she wanted to quit her job, at least for a couple of years. I thought the burnout was coming to a head. She was withdrawn, angry. She snapped at me constantly. She ridiculed Maya over everything. But she's my wife. She was traumatized by the pandemic, and both Maya and I were understanding. We would do okay with just my salary, so last month I sat her down to suggest again that she quit and take some time off to heal. Then everything blew up. She started yelling at me that she knew what I was doing. She's known for months. She has proof. I didn't know what she was talking about at first, but it didn't take long to realize she was accusing me of infidelity. I can't lie, I was angry as hell. I opened my phone, handed it to her, told her to go through it. I went and got my laptop, unlocked it, told her to go through that. The whole time she's still shouting at me about some other woman. I don't have traditional social media media accounts. I'm on Lobsters, Hacker News, and I have a Reddit account. I told her to check everything. There's no secret Facebook or Instagram or whatever. No messages from anyone. I opened Discord, even Slack, everything I could think of, but she wouldn't even look at it. She just got angrier and angrier, and then she picked up my laptop and threw it. That's when I had enough and left. I went to my parents' house. All the while, Grace was texting and calling and leaving more and more unhinged messages about this woman she knows I'm with. When I got to my parents' house, I called her once and told her I needed a few days because I was too angry to handle talking to her. My sister called the next morning and told her Grace had called her multiple times as well to see if I was really there. After a few days, I called Grace to talk, and at first, the conversation was productive. She apologized for throwing the laptop, but she said I made her so angry because I was being so calm. I told her I was not calm because I was being accused of cheating on my wife and I was furious, but it was either try to talk it out or start shouting, which I didn't think was a good idea. Then she got angry, told me I was twisting her words and things fell apart quickly. She started going on and on again that she knew I was cheating. She had proof. I asked her what proof because I would like to see it. I don't remember how we got there, but she said she was going to send everything to the lawyer and I said fine, send a copy to mine because this was going nowhere. She got really quiet after that and asked if I was serious, and I said I wasn't going to stay in a marriage where my wife thinks I cheated on her but won't tell me why. We ended the call there and I've been at my parents' house since. My dad is on my side. My mom thinks Grace is just having a rough time and that we can talk this through. My sister is pissed she got dragged into it, so she thinks we're both assholes. And Maya is miserable because she's being torn between me and her mom. I feel like maybe I jumped the gun and should have stayed calmer. Edit. My morning meetings are finally over and I need to concentrate on my job, so I'm going to be logging out for the day. I'm going to talk to my mom to see if she'll talk to Grace, suggest therapy, couples therapy, etc. I believe those of you who suggested missing reasons are correct. Something is causing this. I just don't know if it's something I've done, stress in her life, or if it's full on projection. I don't think it is, but you never know. I'll assure Maya again that she has a place here no matter what. As far as I'm concerned, she's my daughter and of course she's got a place here if she needs it. However, I also won't try to pressure her considering that's her mom and I know this is pulling her in two ways. Second edit. Okay, so I took a quick break and thought I'd come back and read a couple comments, but there are way too many to read. But there is an overall theme to them, so I'll try to quickly address them here. 01. Someone asked if I was cheating. I understand why you asked that. I never came out and said in the post, but let me assure you, no, I'm not cheating. I never have. Granted, those are just words and I'm sure some will think that I'm lying. But I love my wife. I never wanted to cheat. I'm not a saint. I've been attracted to people. I think Salma Hayek is gorgeous, but the thought of cheating has never crossed my mind. 2. A lot of people think she's cheating on me. Again, I don't think so. She's home every night at the same time. She doesn't hide away her devices. Could there be someone at work? Yes. Do I think she's cheating? No, but as many pointed out, those are famous last words. 3. Talking about divorce, staying calm. I have PTSD. I've worked a lot in therapy over the years to process intense emotions. It's why I stay calm. Not because I am, but because if I don't then I get overwhelmed. The talk to my lawyer comment was one of those moments I didn't process well. I don't think it's a good idea to divorce her after over a decade together because of this past month. On the other hand, I know that because it's not a safe place for me mentally, I'll stay at my parents until we get this resolved. 4. Could it be hormones? Yes, it could. However, my wife is already taking hormones because of a medical procedure she had when she was in her early 30s. Like I said, wasn't in the cards to have kids. She has to see the doctor usually every 6 months to check her levels. Her last appointment was in March. However, her mood changes started before that. 5. Mental health issues. This is what I think it is personally. Like I said, Grace has been building up to a burnout for a while now. These mood changes started a while ago. It's why I brought up taking time off of work. It's why I brought it up again last month when she blew up at me. I think this is stress. It's why I haven't actually contacted a lawyer, because I hope my marriage can be saved. I think I just wanted reassurance from a neutral third party because I'm so far out of my depth here. 6. To those who say don't get my mom involved. My mom already is. She and Grace are incredibly close. She's called Grace every day to check on her. Grace has no contact with her own family, so I'm not really involving mom as much as I'm just asking her to suggest marriage counseling to her the next time she calls. I sure as hell don't want to get some other party involved in this, so I'm not going to contact a friend to talk to my wife. 7. I haven't been no contact with my wife since I left. I probably should have clarified that. She messages me. Sometimes it's the same silly stuff we've always talked about, like random memes she's found or crap her coworkers are doing. And sometimes it's her begging me to just tell her the truth. I'm exhausted mentally from this all, and at the end of my rope. I've suggested therapy a couple of times already, but that's gotten nowhere. Hopefully mom bringing it up might help. 8. Why the throwaway? Because my coworkers also have Reddit accounts, and I don't want them to see this post. They might, but hopefully software guy in his 40s with a wife in nursing is generic enough to American audiences that they won't know it's me. But if it's on my actual account, they definitely will. No one at work knows, and I'd like to keep it that way. I think that's everything. I want to add though, please don't disparage my wife. I'm upset over this because because my wife is a great woman. She's smart, she's funny, she's sweet, she's been a wonderful mother, and that's why I've been worried the past few months about her, because this is so out of character.
My 27F lawyer husband 36M debating skills are ruining my marriage. I feel absolutely crushed. How do I get through to him? We've been together for 5 years now. I don't know how much more I can take. I'm feeling absolutely crushed and powerless in my relationship, and I'm breaking down just writing this. My husband is a lawyer, and his debating skills are ruining everything. It feels like every time we have a disagreement, he turns it into a debate competition. He's brilliant at pointing out logical fallacies in my arguments, but it makes me feel so unheard and undervalued. I don't even know what some of these terms mean, and it's frustrating when he uses them to dismiss my feelings. Every argument we have turns into a nightmare where he uses his lawyer tricks to make me feel completely worthless. He throws around all these terms I don't understand, like appeal to emotion, ad hominem, and false dichotomy, and I'm left feeling like I'm small and stupid. Last week, we fought about where to spend the holidays. I tried to explain how much it means to me to be with my family this year. Instead of listening, he just said I was making an appeal to emotion and that my feelings were irrelevant compared to his logic. Another time, I told him I felt ignored because he's always working late. He said I was making a hasty generalization, and that just because he works late sometimes doesn't mean he doesn't care about me. I don't get any of these terms or arguments, and it feels like I'm constantly losing. Every conversation turns into him tearing apart my feelings with these fancy words, and I'm left feeling utterly defeated and alone. I feel like I'm constantly on the defensive because I can't keep up with his arguments. I love him so much, but I'm struggling so much to keep up. I feel completely powerless. I want to have meaningful conversations without feeling belittled. I've tried explaining how this makes me feel, but it seems like I'm just hit with more technical jargon. Even when I try to use I statements and be honest with my feelings, I try to, but I'm not the best. He says I am catastrophizing things. Not sure what that even means. I'll tell him I'm feeling isolated and unheard, and what he says is not helpful at all, but he again manages to come up with some term or argument that I cannot refute. I went and got my laptop, unlocked it, told her to go through that. The whole time she's still shouting at me about some other woman bot. I don't have traditional social media accounts. I'm on Lobsters, Hacker News, and I have a Reddit account. I told her to check everything. There's no secret Facebook or Instagram or whatever. No messages from anyone. I don't even remember the last time I truly felt like my concerns and feelings were valid or real or mattered. Maybe that's what I'm seeking here too. It's so frustrating sometimes. I want to smack him with a rolling pin.